Are you tired of feeling tired? Are you struggling with vitality and constantly feeling burnt out? Or does your body just not feel great? Join hosts Monique Bradley and advocate for natural medicine Lynette Hill from My Remedy as they explore the issues, interview industry professionals, and share bite-sized tips on how to own your health. It's Health Bites with tonight's special guest, Mike Ayres. Bite-sized pieces of health and wellness information so you can own your health. No mai, haere mai, welcome to the studio. It's Monique Bradley here. I am live at Your Fix TV and on the couch I have advocate for natural medicine. This is Lynette Hill. Kia ora to you.
Hi, Monique.
Hi, welcome, welcome. Now, if this is your first time watching Health Bites, welcome to the show. We have a live show happening here in the studio. So what you're seeing is happening right here in the studio. You can actually message in because we're live. You can say hi. You can ask questions. And this week, we've got a very special focus. For the last 3 weeks, Lynette, we've been talking about something that's been really a big topic for you. And what's that topic about?
We've been talking about gut health with natural medicine practices. So we've had a big focus on IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, and leaky gut, and just the general bloating and discomfort that a lot of people, deal with every day in their life.
Excellent. Now, before we delve into gut health, because it is such a big topic, let me get this right. You're a registered naturopath.
Yes.
Owner and clinical director of My Remedy Clinic in Milford.
Correct.
Right? You're a public speaker.
Yes.
You're also a clinic supervisor, and that's at South Pacific College of Natural Medicine, is that right?
That's right. So that's our clinic in Ellerslie, and it's 8 Arthur Street. Someone was asking me, where is this clinic? So it's 8 Arthur Street, Ellerslie, and it's where our students develop their skills in their last year, and I supervise that before they come out. I'm one of a great team of supervisors.
Excellent. Now, I do have to welcome everybody on the Facebook page of South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. It's great to have you guys with us. And if during the broadcast, if you've got any questions at all, so what page you're watching on, whether it's on the My Remedy page, South Pacific College of Natural Medicine, or Your Fix TV, send us in your questions. We love to chat with you. So, Lynette, gut health. This has been a big month. What have you noticed, question-wise, that's been coming in from the people watching the show? Because there's been a lot of questions, right?
We've had a lot of questions of how natural medicine can help gut health, because I think a lot of people are just walking around with suboptimal gut health and thinking that that's just their normal. So we've had a lot of people saying, how did I get this? What do I do about it? What are the causes? Is this forever? That's a really big one. Is this forever?
I think the thing that I've taken from this news, from this chat, is the fact that so many people are living with these symptoms every day. And I think the link between stress and gut health, that mind-gut connection, has been a real big deal. And in fact, if any of you are watching and you've really struggled with that yourself, or you've noticed that perhaps your tummy has been feeling less than fabulous due to the effects of stress, let us know in the newsfeed. Send through some hearts or some thumbs and say, yes, I'm in that situation. I think what I've really noticed through the live chat, and this is one of the things we love about the show too, is that stomach problems and gut unhappiness is more common than we think. So we're talking about the symptoms of bloating, diarrhea. Obviously, we want to talk about that. Constipation is another thing.
That's right. And they're things that we don't usually run around talking about. Hey, how's your diarrhea today?
Unless you're me.
Well, unless you are Monique. And then you mention it 2 or 3 times. We are counting. We need a diarrhea.
We do.
But they're the sorts of things that, it's not on your face. It's not a growth. It's not a disease that someone says, oh, you poor thing, you've got that. It's just general discomfort. And so many of us are waking up with it, going to bed with it, walking around with it. So it's just kind of it's an under the rug illness.
Right. And I guess if you're watching tonight's show, chances are you might be one of those people who are concerned about your gut health. You're like me, you've lived for the last 20 years with bloating, thinking that was normal. Somebody may have tagged you into tonight's show or invited you. And in fact, please do us a favor, please help out and share tonight's show as well, because the information we've got to share with you truly is amazing. And we can't wait for you to hear that your pathway to wellness is perhaps easier than you think?
It's really easy. First thing you need to realize is that, you know, those feelings are not normal and that you can actually do better than that.
Wow, amazing. So we've got some big questions that I want to start the show with. First of all, Lynette, what is natural medicine?
So natural medicine, well, I'm a registered naturopath, which means I have a degree, a Bachelor of Natural Medicine. I did that through the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. So I've been trained to look at the body and symptoms holistically. So we look at the whole person. We look at the mental aspects, the physical aspects, the emotional aspects. So what are the things behind the illness? Not just you've got this illness, but what's behind that? Is it stress? Is it diet? We work only with natural medicines, and only if they're needed. We'd far rather get it through diet and lifestyle, but it really depends. Are you coming to us for health advice to stay well, or are you already slipping a little bit and needing some therapeutic support?
Gotcha. So we've been talking for this is week 3, talking about gut health. Just for people who are watching for the first time, what does gut health actually mean, and why is it important?
Gut health means, is it working properly? Is it healthy? So the gut is an enormous organ. It basically goes from your mouth to your backside, and it's got a whole lot of skin in there and a whole lot of functionality. It joins to all of our digestive organs. So if we've got any single part of that not right, from our our oral health in our mouth right through to our backside, if any of that's not working, we have dis-ease. So as a naturopath, we tend to focus on the gut first, because a lot of our immune response comes from our gut, some from our blood, but mostly from our gut. So if that's not healthy, so if the food that's going in is not healthy, or if we've had some medical treatment that's left some issues, particularly antibiotics, everyone knows.
Yes, of course, yes.
They impact the gut health. So that's why we start with gut health and we sort that first.
Gotcha. Well, I hope that's made that nice and clear for everybody. I know that's something that's really affected me. I've had problems with my gut for longer than I can remember. Thinking I had this, I would Google that and find out actually no. There are simple reasons behind what's going on in your body. It could be as simple as an intolerance or an allergy or something else. And
that's what a naturopath or a herbalist is actually trained to do. So we're trained to go, we know what the symptoms are and we know what our limits are also.
Yes.
But we also know what some of those basic therapeutics that can get underneath and improve the situation, or which foods might be likely to be causing that. So we can save a lot of time and effort trawling on Google and whipping things out of your diet that you actually needed, and not realizing that if you put some water in, that might change your bowel consistency. Just the basics. So
and another common thing that we've heard, and I'm sure you probably hear this in your clinic, people saying, but I eat well, why don't I feel well?
And that hooks into the whole mind-body thing, and we've been really prompted over the last couple of weeks about the brain and the gut. So there's a couple of reasons. It might be the food you're eating.
Right.
Food might be rubbish, so you probably feel like rubbish if you eat it. Maybe in the short term you feel good. It could be that your gut's not working particularly well, so you may have had a gastro bug that you're never right from, and you're never right until you do something for that. You may have had some medication you haven't been right since. Or it might be as simple as, I'm so stressed, I don't digest. That's a really big one.
That's a really good, very good point. Now, just noticed on the newsfeed, Andy Crawford, who was watching, and Andy's been watching the last couple of shows, just said, ready and waiting. Have a great night, ladies.
Awesome. Hi, Andy.
Thank you, Andy. Great to have you on the show. Now, before we delve into some of the bigger topics tonight, I do have to put in the legal disclaimer as well.
Yes,
so we'll just head to that screen right now. Here we go. Now, just to let you know, this show is not here to give you a diagnosis. It's here to inform you about the options available and to allow you to ask questions about those options. We will not and cannot give you specific medical advice or diagnose disease. And it's important that if you do have any medical concerns, please contact your medical professional. Now, the reason we had to put that in there, as we do every week, is that we're going to be talking about some really big, pretty contentious topics as well, I have to say.
Absolutely.
Because I know that there are a lot of people, particularly friends and family of my own, who are currently living with symptoms of that we might term as IBS. So I thought the first thing we should do tonight, Lynette, is let's talk about what actually is IBS.
Okay, so IBS is a acronym for irritable bowel syndrome, and it's a disorder defined by broad range of discomfort and changes in bowel habits. So you'll be noticing things like bloating, you might have some abdominal pain, there may be excessive flatulence or gas, maybe some diarrhea, constipation, or alternation of both. It's just, you just don't feel quite so good in your gut, and it's not just once from something you ate, it's more often than that.
So this is a very good point. Is IBS classified as a disease, or is it classified as like an allergic reaction or an intolerance, or how would you frame that?
It's got the word syndrome in it, which means it's a bunch of stuff. It's not a specific disease, but it's common enough to make it a syndrome. So there's enough people going for medical help to go, I've got bloating, I've got constipation, and you feedback, great, you've got IBS. Brilliant, I've got irritable bowel syndrome. But that is still just a list of symptoms.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's just a list of symptoms that you now fall into. You qualify for that. So IBS is that bunch of symptoms, or some of them quite often. And it's not a disease. So we know that maybe diet and lifestyle will help it. And, if it's a little bit more advanced, some therapeutic help, may benefit you.
Yes, I was just going to say along that line. So you've got this diagnosis of IBS. What next? Because a diagnosis isn't a cure, right?
No. Knowing you have something doesn't make it go away.
No, I wish it did.
So what you need to think about is, when didn't I have it? Because we don't usually start with it. It usually develops. And think, what's changed? So if you've suddenly become, I eat pizza every night and lots and lots of Coca-Cola and stuff like that, maybe taking those things out of your diet's a really good idea, and you might find that your IBS disappears. And you do need to look at your life and see what changes you can come up with, because it's your responsibility, your body. But often you've done that, and you're maybe a bit more developed, and you've tried some probiotics, and you've knocked out gluten and dairy, but you still have those symptoms. Usually they've gone away and you've gone, eureka, it was gluten.
It was great. Yeah.
And then 3 weeks later it's the next thing. Now it's potatoes. So
wow, what do you do in that situation? You just have to keep going through elimination?
Well, you can try working it out yourself, or like I said last week, if your car has a sign flashing, you go to a mechanic. If your body's got a sign flashing, I would be going at the very least to a health store with a naturopath or a herbalist in store. Or if you really need to screw down into it, spend an hour with a naturopath and find out what's going on, and they'll then also give you a plan to lead you out of that.
Great. So if it is some sort of intolerance, could it perhaps be because your whole system is upset and it's been living in that intolerant, inflamed state for such a long time? Is IBS reversible?
I believe it is, because it's a bunch of symptoms, and if those mostly, there may be, not everything's reversible, and it's up to how much work you're going to do as well. But if it's that your flora is imbalanced and you've got too much of the bad bacteria and not enough of the good, then we put good bacteria in. As a naturopath, I might look at doing some what we call weed seed feed. So get rid of the rubbish, put in maybe some prebiotics, and then throw the probiotics in later, looking at the diet. So that would turn those gut symptoms around. You still need to maintain that though. Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's what we're doing for ourselves, to ourselves, and it's not disease, so therefore it is something that we can usually turn around.
We can work away at. Look, if you are sitting at home and you're watching, or sitting in your car watching on your phone, or wherever you're watching, if any of this is resonating with you, please feel free to message in during the stream, because we are live right here. And in fact, some of these questions I'm throwing at Lynette, she doesn't even know I'm throwing at her tonight.
Curly ones.
Yes, some good ones. But it is an opportunity for you, if you are sitting with those symptoms, to ask the expert. That's what this show is all about. I'm just having a quick look at the news feed just to make sure we've got everybody's questions sorted. Miranda Sophie just said hello and just said health is a process.
That's right. It's a total process, and it takes us quite a while to get to the point of dis-ease. I call it dis-ease as opposed to disease. So disease is, you know, you've got something really sick, but dis-ease means I don't feel good anymore. So it takes us a while to get there, and then it generally takes a little while to back the car up and get back to good health as well.
Right. Now, a couple of shout outs too. LBK Hura is watching the show tonight. Kia ora to you. And also Andy Crawford just said, but I've had bowel issues since I was around 4. Parents used to have to use suppositories on me, and I've always had bad swollen tummy aches. They had no idea.
So no, and parents, I mean, gosh, all parents go through that stage of feeling really guilty about raising their children. And if my boys are out there, sorry, wish I'd never introduced wheat. But so with a wee 4-year-old who has had problems since 4 years old, some of the things we might consider are fluids. Is there actually enough fluid getting to the bowel? We don't know what kind of birth, if it was a vaginal natural birth or if it was cesarean, and the difference in the bacteria through those two birth methods is significant. We don't know maybe if this child was breastfed or bottle fed, and if there was an intolerance. So when we work with children, we're really delving into information from mum and dad, and, you know, did mum have any issues, and what was going on through the pregnancy, and what's your diet. So there's often clues, but it's so hard to work it out when you're trying to actually bring this child up and they're in pain. And, you know, what I'd be looking at in that case is that child's bowel working properly? What would we do to sort that one out?
So Andy, thank you for sharing that.
Good question.
I hope, great. This is good stuff. Yeah. And I hope that brings you a little bit of peace. Or Andy just said, I was always drinking copious amounts of water and still do to this day, as I've had kidney issues as well.
So there you go. So there's definitely a fluid balance issue in there, and it might be worth talking to someone about hydrating. So you can drink a lot of water and not be fully hydrated.
Wow,
that's another. But
it's a whole other episode.
Hydration is really important, and fibre and all of that.
Awesome. And Miranda Sophie said dis-ease and a winky face, like that, like wink.
Like
so
that.
It's a good
dis-ease. You can use that, Miranda.
Yeah. So for somebody like me, I've got a bit of a question, because I've really struggled with symptoms of IBS for most of my adult life. And I want to know, I've also struggled with my weight. Right. So even though, and I feel like we're friends, so I will be frank and we'll be honest, I've really struggled. Probably twice a week from my IBS, I would have diarrhea. And I feel like I'm okay with talking with you guys about this. Kia ora, whānau. And why is it that the amount of diarrhea I've had, why have I not lost heaps of weight? Why have I just got bigger and bigger and bigger? I know you're not allowed to diagnose on the show.
Well, a lot of weight is about inflammation, and also if there's dysbiosis and leaky gut, I bet you went up a size through the day. So how much of that weight is fluid and bloating and inflammation as opposed to fats? But also, if we are not digesting well, then we tend to store fats rather than process them.
Wow.
And the diarrhea, since you continue to bring this up, you're determined to talk about it tonight. As much
as possible.
It's a really interesting thing. Did you notice that you could be slightly constipated for most of the week and then explosion the next?
Yeah.
So that can, even that little thing is a sign to me that you might have a dry bowel. Okay, and your liver's getting involved now to let's shoot some bile down there and get this out so that we keep the tubes clear. So our bodies are really good at compensating. Yeah, I mean, your body is it's not going to stay bunged up. It's got ways and means.
It's got exit strategies.
And yours are fairly significant.
I know, right? Okay, so we've touched on IBS. If any of this has resonated for you guys watching, wherever you're watching, please let us know. I know we just had a message in. from Raja, who just said, does smoking add to the gut problem further? Hi, Raja, over in Kashmir in India. Namaste. Does smoking contribute?
Well, smoking contributes to everything. It's really interesting. Now, I may have some of my facts wrong because it's been a long time since I read my notes, but nicotine is one of those chemicals that can actually cause the tight junctions in cells to loosen. So it actually breaks tissue down. So if it means breaking tissue down in the lungs, it's a really good idea not to smoke. So it can break tissues down anywhere. It's also a pollutant, so our body is inflamed with a pollutant. Any inflammation is going to impact on our gut. A lot of people smoke for a lot of different reasons, and if one of them is stress, that also is really inflammatory. So we just can't say to someone, just stop smoking. We need to find out what's the story and why they're doing it and what it means and all about it.
That's incredible. Raja, I hope that's helped. Also, Andy Crawford has just messaged in with a technical message for our producer tonight, who said, just a word, I can't hear the feed when typing and cannot see any other messages from others. Andy, it won't be from our end. It may be a technical thing happening from your end, or it could be your internet. There you go, solving problems all night.
And you've got different feeds as well, so some of those messages are coming on other feeds.
Yes, totally. Right, so we've delved into IBS. So we've kind of talked around that. What's the next thing? We're looking at IBD. Now, I haven't heard of this term before. What is IBD?
So even though the two first letters look the same, they're very, very different disorders. So as opposed to irritable bowel, which is a bit uncomfortable and not that nice, IBD is inflammatory bowel disease. This is confirmed disease. And it's generally a long-term chronic disorder. It involves inflammation, and it's an autoimmune condition.
Right.
So it's inflammation that may originally be triggered by an infection, but then the body continues that inflammation, and it can even turn on itself. So the immune cells, they started working on infection's gone, and they just keep working on you. So it's a real a disease that breaks tissue down. It's very, very serious.
Wow, that's incredible. So in that situation, it's more than just an allergy, it's more than just an intolerance. Is that correct?
Absolutely. There is usually allergy and intolerance sitting around the edges of IBD, because as you become more and more inflamed, you become more sensitive to things, and the body will start flagging things. For example, celiac disease. Now that's it is an autoimmune condition, but it's gluten that will trigger that reaction.
Right.
So with someone with IBS, they'll eat gluten, they'll get bloating, maybe a bit of constipation. Someone with celiac disease, which is a autoimmune disease, that will actually poison their system, and they'll have an allergy, and the impact on that is huge for them.
Yes.
It poisons them.
Oh, that's incredible. I'm glad we've had that distinction made clear, because IBD is a new term to me, but hearing that distinction now, I actually understand. Thanks for that, Lynette.
And I really like to reach out to the public. And if someone says to you, I've got celiac disease, I can't have gluten, don't laugh that off and think, well, it's just, a little bit of gluten, it won't hurt them. If you have celiac disease and you are very reactive, and you go to a restaurant and you tell them, I've got celiac disease, you cannot give me any gluten, and they cut your gluten-free bread on a board that real bread, wheat bread, has been on with a knife that has cut the wheat bread, that person is going to have an inflammatory reaction, which is not going to ruin their night, but their night, their next day. It could put them back 2 or 3 weeks in their health. So it's a very serious condition.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that as well. That's incredible. Now, a message in from LBK Hura. Kia ora. What about hyperactive adrenal glands? How does that contribute to, say, symptoms of IBS?
It contributes to any symptom of any dysfunction. So if you are pumped up with adrenaline, that's a steroid rocking through your system, which is an inflammatory response, just all on its own. And it also interferes with digestion. So you've got an inflammatory response and digestion that's not happening perfectly. So, being adrenal is not ideal for any kind of gut health.
No, certainly not. So when I actually first met Lynette, actually started first working on my own health with her, which was more recently actually, my own health. One of the first things she did was actually look at what my adrenal glands were doing, and then said, you might want to try this. Which was a great product to just give my adrenal glands some support. And it's been amazing seeing the change in that, then making some dietary changes. I'm now 13 days into a slightly altered diet. I've lost 3 kilos in weight. No more symptoms of IBS.
Good. Just by settling the farm down.
It was a calm the farm.
Calm the farm.
Hey, so I hope that helps, Albie. We've got something really interesting to look at now. Now, this is one of the tools that you use to look at things like leaky gut, IBS, IBD, see what's going on in the body, and it's a thing called HemoView. Is that right?
That's right.
So what happens in that process?
So with HemoView, it's a dark field microscope, and we just take one little pinprick of blood, and it's not a diagnostic tool, but it's something that we go, it's a little bit like a report card on how your blood's looking right now. So in the picture you can see there, I think we showed it last time as well, right in the middle with the yellow line through it, is platelet aggregation, and that's quite a large aggregation. So when we see that, we would know that this person, if they were coming in with IBD, was probably in the middle of a flare. You know, there is irritation, there is inflammation right now, and it's quite significant. It's about as significant as it gets. Wow. And there'll be other things in there as well, like there'll be, you know, issues around some of the red blood cells being low in iron. Some of those cells are just a little bit small. So we use HemoView to sort of assess where we're at, and then we can keep an eye on the, inflammatory markers, and is that reducing, is that getting worse? And it just helps us as an additional tool when we're trying to steer somebody through and out of inflammation, because that's really our focus, is inflammation.
Gotcha. That's amazing. Thanks, Lynette. That's really cool. Well, it's not cool for the person who's suffering with inflammation.
I'm sure that person feels better now.
Yes, excellent. Now, interesting, Jane Wands just said, just take Metamucil. It's a life-changing product.
It can be really good for some people. I can't advocate that though, because for some people, Metamucil could be very, very damaging. So again, if you're in IBS, it can be a fantastic, here's the fibre, and this is just what I need, and a big glass of water that goes with it, which in my opinion is equally as important as fibre. But if you have IBD, then I would say, no, not until you've got professional help and we know that you actually can tolerate something like that.
So Jane just said, it works wonders for me, and the doctor said it's one product which is safe. So
well,
cool.
that is fantastic.
That's what we love to hear. That's what the show's about.
And I think too, Mike's going to come on shortly and just confirm, was it Jane?
Yes, Jane.
Yeah, what Jane was saying, that with IBD or serious IBS, it's not always the things that you think would be good or bad. It's very, very personalised, but a lot of people do find just putting that good fibre in is all they need.
Now, over on the My Remedy page, it's actually on Your Fix, somebody from the My Remedy team has just commented before saying that HemoView is a really helpful tool, and Andy Crawford just supported that by saying, yes, I was fascinated watching the blood platelets moving about. It's a cool tool.
Oh, it is.
Great for diagnosis.
Well, no, we don't diagnose on it.
That's true.
We're naturopaths. We can't diagnose anything. We can work with diagnosed disease. Fantastic. But we always spend a lot of time getting our own mental picture of what's going on with a really good health history. But what HemoView does is it confirms. So someone might be telling me all of this stuff and I'm thinking, yikes, what's it going to look like? And actually they're just a little bit inflamed and not too bad with iron. So we know that their diet is working really well for them. Or we might see some real nutritional deficiencies and know, you're probably a lot worse on the inside than you're letting on here. And we can see that. There's usually no surprises with HemoView. Most people look at the blood and hear our explanation and go, yeah, that sounds pretty much spot on.
And I'm glad you've made that clarification around, working it out as opposed to diagnosis.
Oh, absolutely.
That's really important to know
diagnosis
as well.
is for your doctor to do, and we love it when you've been to a doctor and they have diagnosed something, because then we know where to start.
Excellent. Now, My Remedy just did a waving hand and said, it's me, guys, it's Jo.
Hey, Jo.
And Andy Crawford said, hi, Karen. Hi, Karen also. Miranda Sophie said, what about worms?
Oh, Miranda.
You're under the grill tonight, aren't you? You're doing well.
Yeah, having parasites is not great. I mean, we actually, a little bit like the world needs flies, we all have bacteria and parasites in parts of our body that we don't even want to think about. If you have worms to the point where you have symptoms of them, bloating, excessive sugar, itchy bottom, usually into diarrhea. So it's a good idea to know. Yeah, there it is again.
I said it again.
It's a good idea to do something with a focus on antiparasitic herbs, or see if by doing that the symptoms go. And if they do, then you probably had worms.
Okay, perfect.
If they don't, you've probably got something else going on.
There you go. Thank you, Miranda.
And picking children, picking their nose, worms.
So Karen Tanya Durney just said hi.
Hi, Karen.
And Miranda Sophie said bruxism too. Bruxism.
Oh, Miranda.
She's being very picky tonight, isn't she?
I will personal message you.
Yes, and LBK Huda just said snakes. I know that his wife Nicole used to call them snakes in your bum.
Oh, that's horrendous.
When she was just little.
That is horrendous.
Right, moving right along.
Away from worms.
Away from worms. Now, we do have to move into the health ladder. Now, this is something that you've put together, which is kind of your philosophy around health. And if you are watching the show for the first time, the health ladder has really become a staple part when it comes to your journey to wellness. So let's take a quick look through the health ladder just so you can get your eyes around it, get your head around it, and see where you sit on the health ladder on your journey to wellness. Right.
Cool. So as a naturopath, we want your feet to be firmly on the ground. So really easy to stay healthy. You've got, decent diet, lifestyle, your relationships are good, and it's not hard to digest your food and, be happy and healthy. Then the next level up for me is just a wee bit suboptimal. You might be starting to notice a bit of bloating or some kind of conditions happening, and you might be starting to Google and think about foods. And this is where I use condensed nutrients. So probiotics, maybe some B vitamins or something to see if it makes a difference in how you're feeling. The next area is what we're talking about pretty much with IBS and maybe some early disease. So you're starting to get a bit wobbly, it's getting, clinging onto that ladder a little bit, and your symptoms are more chronic. They're there all the time. So we want you to, at this point, go, enough is enough, go and see a healthcare professional. So we fit into there as naturopaths, herbalists, chiropractors, acupuncture, your doctor. All of these people are here to see if they can make a difference at this level.
Excellent.
Tonight, this is where we're going, unfortunately. We're going right to the top of the ladder where you're swinging around and you're feeling really uneasy and not safe. And this is where you have diagnosed disease. So tonight we're going to be talking about IBD, and that means something's happening. You're probably needing medication right now, but we can also help you, support you at that level to bring you down the ladder a little bit.
Right. So I know in my instance, I was really living with symptoms when I actually started working with you. So thank you. I feel like my feet are much more firmly on the ground. Excellent. And if you're watching and any of this has resonated with you, please make sure that you send in a message or get in touch with Lynette. Or if you're based here in Auckland and you want to go and perhaps see the people at South Pacific College of Natural Medicine, their Power Clinic is fantastic at supporting you through your health, and you're also supporting students in the end part of their own journey to become practitioners. Is that right?
Yeah, to make more people like me, to help people like you.
So let's take a look. Speaking of which, we're just going to have a quick break. But in the meantime, we're going to actually tell you a little bit about My Remedy before we bring in our special guest this evening, Mike Ayres, who's going to talk to you a little bit about his own journey with IBD. So let's take a look at My Remedy. Have you ever considered that symptoms may be the outward sign of something deeper and can just be the body's way of saying, help me? Well, the great news is that even small changes from the inside out can affect your whole health outcome. So, are you ready to make positive changes? At My Remedy, the registered homeopaths and naturopaths are there to help you with any health condition, and each has their specialty. This is Joe, who's a specialist in gut health and gut disorders. Jorge, allergies, eczema and asthma. Lynette, adrenal fatigue and immune conditions. Mike, cardiovascular and men's health. Amy, optimal health through nutrition and naturopathic principles. Kate is a registered homeopath. Stephanie is their clinical hypnotherapist, and both of those two ladies are there to help you with the deepest challenges to your health, your beliefs, fears, habits, and behaviours. So, if you're ready to create better health for you and your family, try a different approach. Visit myremedy.co.nz, or you can give them a call 09 486 2175. My Remedy, it's your remedy. Well, we are here in the Your Fix studio and we're talking about gut health this week. This is week 3 of our gut health transformational mindset, I'd like to call it, because we really are talking about something different when it comes to gut health. And Lynette, you've brought a special guest into the studio tonight.
I have. I've brought my colleague Mike Ayres. Hi, Mike. Welcome.
Hi,
Good
Mike.
evening. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I can't wait to talk to you. So Mike is a registered naturopath and medical herbalist.
And a retired winemaker.
Retired winemaker,
which
we
I
like
just
that.
found out. How did I not know that?
I keep it kind of
on the
Oh,
down.
Oh, well, we
these
know
days.
now, so that's good. I like wine. So Mike is a really, he's quite passionate about all things health and getting to the bottom of things, and in particular men's health. So, he works a lot with men, and it's interesting, Mike, because we were talking earlier, and you would think that we both came from different planets. What's the saying?
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And you'd think we were completely different species under the skin, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we would. Yeah, and we see them present quite differently in clinic too.
So my understanding is that often, and I know from our audiences who watch these shows, often our audiences are mostly women when it comes to Health Bites. So women are doing more research. They're the first ones perhaps to hop on Dr. Google.
First sign of
bloating. That's
and
right.
they look for help.
And is this something you're seeing in the clinic as well, Mike?
So men are different. If we talk about the ladder, men seem to wait till they're further up before they go, what's going on here? So they tend to just, when we talk about living with symptoms, they'll live with symptoms for a long time.
Wow.
And sometimes it takes someone else to tell them, hey, have you thought about, talking to someone about this? Maybe go and
interesting.
get help. That's not normal.
Interesting. So they're more likely to be up in the upper end of symptoms on that health ladder or up in the diagnosed disease?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes we see them come to us after they've had that initial health scare. Their GP might have told them they're going to need to have medication. If it's cardiovascular health, that would probably be a statin, or their blood pressure's high.
Insurance gets men in the door, because suddenly they're like, oh, I've been eating all this rubbish and drinking all this alcohol and taking all these pills, and I need to go and get blood tests done, and I bet my liver's screaming, I bet I've got high cholesterol. So men will suddenly come running in the door and say, fix me, and then they go to the doctor.
Oh, very, very interesting.
Yeah, very sneaky men.
I want to know, I know we've written down here, what are the things that men are predominantly coming into the clinic for? And you've just written some notes of things like stress and work-life balance. Is that really affecting their health?
Yeah, just recently it seems we've had a slew of folks who are coming in and they're feeling fatigued, they're working full time, they've come through those baby years and maybe not in the best shape. They've backed off on their physical exercise, maybe stopped playing for those sports teams, and they're just surviving really, and they're not well.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's quite different. We were also talking about this before the show, that the men who come in who are of that slightly older generation have been really quite robust for their whole lives, and they're really coming in when they're 70s and 80s and looking at healthy aging in the rest of their life. But these guys coming in their 30s and 40s are in much worse health. I think it's just
Wow.
I'm not really quite sure what the difference is, but yeah, it's just an interesting trend that we've noticed.
Now, I've just had a couple of comments come in through on the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine page. Thank you guys for sending your questions, and I'll just grab some answers from you both on this first before we delve into your story. Catherine Blackmore said, hi Lynette, great show. Is it safe to use high-dose vitamin C for illness or infection for people with IBS or IBD, considering the possibility of reaching bowel tolerance? Safe with constipation prominent IBS, but avoid in diarrhea prominent? Thank you in advance.
Thanks,
And
Kat.
then,
Do you want to answer that,
actually,
or-
Kelly Heald Wilson just said the same thing. Is it safe to use it? A great question. So they both want to know. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the question really is about the dose, right? I mean, vitamin C is totally safe to use in any of those conditions, but doing the really high dose with active inflammation and diarrhea, I would be pretty cautious around that. So I would probably figure out your dosing with a professional in those situations.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Mike.
Because also, if you're already loose, you're going to go to, it may not be that you've reached bowel tolerance, but your bowel can't tolerate that form of vitamin C. So it also might be that you need to look at a different form of it, a more gentle form. So as Mike said, that's when it's totally important to get really sound advice from a professional, not who can sell vitamin C, but who has studied vitamin C and knows how to use it, particularly in a safe way.
Excellent. Now, Andy Crawford just messaged in and said, My Remedy is an amazing team. Highly recommend them. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
And she also said, do you think with regards to men's health, do you think it's part of that Kiwi harden up attitude?
Yeah, I think so. We definitely have that macho attitude towards ourselves, and that you really should just toughen up and get on with it, which is good. It's an admirable quality, but when it goes on too long, you really have to rethink it, I think.
And I guess, at the end of the day, nobody really wants to live a life in pain and discomfort, do we?
That's right. Bleeding from the bowel is not admirable.
That's not okay. That's not okay. I'll just leave that one right there. Now, Mike, you've had your own journey with your health.
Yeah.
Why transition from being a winemaker, coolest job ever, just saying, to working in natural medicine? So my understanding is you're a medical herbalist as well as a naturopath?
Yes. I graduated from South Pacific College of Natural Medicine,
Great.
so we graduate with both of those qualifications.
Excellent. So why did you transition from wine to this?
Health has always been an interest of mine from my own experience as a teenager. Being sick, being diagnosed with IBD, using naturopathy to get well and then manage my symptoms. And I came back to New Zealand to be closer to family, and I just thought it was time to follow my passion and share with other people the health benefits that I receive from naturopathic care. So
with IBD, what sort of protocols were you using to help change your health? Because this is a big one, was it just one or two supplements you had to take, or was it a complete lifestyle change?
It was a pretty intensive protocol to start with. I had been, leading up to when I saw the naturopath, I'd been 2 years of receiving pharmaceutical therapy, working with great GP and a specialist. And they'd really got me to this point where I was stable. And, but I felt like I'd plateaued. I just wasn't getting any better, and I still wasn't as healthy as I was before I got sick.
Gotcha. Now, Lynette would call that suboptimal living, right?
Yep, exactly. So then I went to the naturopath and did a 6-week protocol, pretty intensive, full elimination diet. There was herbs, there was probiotics, and there was also protein supplementation just to kind of build me back up. A bit of a gut reset, really.
Wow, that's incredible.
And it was the difference after 6 weeks was amazing.
And so where's your health at now? If you're on that ladder, where is your health at now?
So my feet are pretty firmly on the ground. I do use nutritional therapy and herbal medicine daily to manage my symptoms. But I'm pretty happy. Yeah, I've been able to have, this is career number 2, and I've had a family and full life. And
that's incredible. Now we are going to get more into the symptoms and how to work with them very shortly, but you'll notice there's a bit of a recurring theme, and that's how much we love the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine and the Power Clinic, because they're really doing great work to bring new naturopaths into the world. And I guess when we hear stories from people that upset bowel, gut health is becoming more apparent, there is more need for people like both of you in the workplace or in the world.
Absolutely.
Really.
We need more naturopaths.
I was just doing a bit of reading before the show this afternoon and came across a news article last year about research on IBD in Christchurch. and the incidence in the last 10 years has doubled, and we now have documented one of the highest rates of IBD in the world.
Wow.
So,
very interesting, considering some of the real big information that we've learned in the last 2 weeks here, and people seem to comment that link between stress and the gut.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And if you have got IBD, we need to get on top of stress. That is number one, isn't it?
Yeah. And just before we cut to a quick video from Power Clinic, Bronwyn Todd has just said, "Hi, glad I remembered to tune in tonight. I love this live format." We love you being here. Thank you, Bronwyn.
Hey, Bronnie.
And it's great to have all of you watching, whether you're watching on My Remedy, Your Fix TV, or via the Power Clinic and South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. Now, just recently, Lynette, you popped out to the college and you grabbed a quick bit of video footage for us.
I did. This was my very first production.
Excellent. So let's take a look and meet some of the people there.
Welcome to Power Clinic. I'm Robin Carruthers, the Clinic Director. The Power Clinic is a student clinic at the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. We've got two main functions here. One is to give our students a really good educational experience. They're the ones who staff the clinic, and they are supervised by experienced practitioners, naturopaths and medical herbalists. Our other role, which is more important, is to provide the community with affordable natural health care. So we have free visits for under 6-year-old children and for people over 65, and our other adult normal fees are heavily subsidised. We see a whole range of people here at Power Clinic, people who've got just minor health complaints, who want to look at a wellness plan, right through to people who are on a range of medications and have quite serious health conditions. A lot of people think that with natural health care that if you're taking medications, you can't go to a naturopath. But in fact, we're very careful to take that into account and to work around it and support people while they are taking medications that they need to take. So if this sounds like it might be of interest to you, please give us a call and we'll look forward to seeing you and to helping you on your health journey.
Well, there you go. That is Power Clinic. We love them, and we love that they're part of our journey with Health Bites. What I think I love the most is that you've got students there who are learning the latest research in natural medicine. It's such a great clinic. Now, Lynette, you've been doing a lot of work out there as well. Tell us some of the other great bits that you love about the clinic.
The garden, totally love the garden. So all of the naturopaths get to work in a beautiful environment. So it's hands-on, which is just really inspirational. The people there, the quality of the students is awesome. It's highly research focused. There's a full dispensary there, and because they've got supervision, from people who are in the industry and working out in the profession, they're really it's real cutting edge. And working with someone with Mike, he's got a really big research background. Great. And so our students are actually giving us information and knowledge. So it's a really cooperative learning environment.
I love that. So if you do want to get in touch, if you are based in Auckland, we've got the details here on the screen for you. You can of course, head to their website, which is www.spcnm.ac.nz, which is the South Pacific College Natural Medicine. That's what that stands for. Or give them a call, 09526 9277. They have incredibly well subsidised rates. So if you are on a bit of a budget and you really want to look at your health, look, free healthcare for kids under 6.
Yep, and for the seniors as well, and it's highly discounted. You're really helping the students to learn and get their qualification, but you're getting such a good service, and you are actually going to have a first touch of natural medicine, and it's quite surprising the results we see at the student clinic level. So please, help the students in their journey and help yourself as well.
Excellent, thanks, Lynette. That's so good. So, Mike. We're talking IBD. Now, I understand with, having had symptoms myself of IBS, and I know there's a lot of people who watch our show, they're used to the bloating, diarrhea. There, I said it again. Mood swings. I've heard people have messaged me personally saying, well, when I eat certain things, I bloat and I get mood swings. They get the brain fog, a whole bunch of, different symptoms like that. How is that different from somebody like you who lives with IBD?
So initially when people have IBD and it's in a flare-up situation, because IBD goes flare-ups and then remissions, so it might go away for a while, come back. So when it's in flare-up, the diarrhea is quite often, we're talking at least 4 times a day, maybe up to 20 times a day. Lots of pain. They usually do lose weight. I think you mentioned that you didn't really seem to lose weight.
No.
So with IBD, the inflammation is so severe that they really just aren't absorbing any nutrients. So everything goes straight through. Nutrient deficiencies start to crop up. So people get skin issues, cracks in the mouth, chapped lips show up, a really good early sign. And then the presence of blood would be really a warning sign and time to go to the doctor.
Wow.
Blood in the stool. Yeah.
So if any of you are watching and you're living with symptoms like this, please contact your healthcare professional. Get some help, get some support. Don't just Google it.
No.
Do something. And look after your health.
Oh, and because the immune system is involved, people might have fevers that come and go as well. So if you've got those symptoms,
and aching joints.
Yeah. And inflamed eyes, joint pain.
Seriously?
Yeah, so if you think you've got IBS, but then you've got those other things going on as well, that's a good warning sign that you need to get yourself to your GP.
Yeah. So I'm going to put you on right on the platform now. I'm going to grill you. Can naturopathy cure IBD and IBS?
No, it's classed as an uncurable disease at this point. Even all the best drugs in the world can't cure it. So the real goal of complementary medicine, so an integrative, using medicine, drugs and natural health, is to, one, induce remission and then just maintain that remission as long as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
So
avoid the flare-ups as well.
Yes.
Find out what those triggers are so that you lower the stress, find the foods, and then you're not having as many flare-ups either.
So we can really provide ongoing care to figure out what foods you should be eating, what foods you should be avoiding, get those nutritional deficiencies addressed, because that's really our specialty.
Great. So the naturopathy can really work to calm those symptoms so that you can lead a better life.
Absolutely. Come down the ladder a little bit.
Yeah, that's great.
Like Mike is actually living really well. He has IBD, but because he's worked so much out, and he knows what to put in and what not to put in. For example, we were talking about lettuce today, which is what I would consider healthy, and eat your lettuce. But for Mike, that is one of the most irritating foods he can have. So
seriously?
Working it all out,
So if I'm in really good state of remission, it's not too much of a problem. But if in any flare-ups, fiber is actually it's too aggressive. It's like eating sandpaper. If you had a wound on your skin, you wouldn't not dress it and wear a scratchy woolen jumper. It's that sort of thing. So that insoluble fiber can be really irritating to someone with IBD.
That's mind-blowing. I had no idea.
It has to be really carefully managed.
Okay, so on the flip side, we're talking about, obviously, you're a specialist in looking after men's conditions at My Remedy, and you're seeing men with digestive complaints, cardiovascular issues. Now, I know there's a lot of females who are watching out here who are the researchers and they want to know more about health. If they're in a situation where a significant man in their life, whether it's a son, whether it's their father or a partner, or even a colleague, workmate, who seems to look a little unwell or symptoms of dis-ease or discomfort, in your opinion, what can that whānau or friend or colleague do to support that person?
So I think it's just a matter of starting to talk to them about it. I think males in general kind of internalize things and keep things to themselves. So even I think people would be surprised about what comes out if you just ask them, are you okay? How are you feeling? I've noticed you're not feeling great, or you don't look like you're doing so well. All those sort of wee starters to get a conversation going would be the place to start.
Yeah, we need to come out of the toilet.
Yeah.
Free the toilet.
And start telling each other about our bowel motions and our health. And
I think I've started the conversation tonight.
Looking forward to a wine tonight.
I know, right? I think we've used it. So before we finish up, because we've got a couple more things to just nut through before we go. So just can we finalise with really nutting down what people should be looking for? Lynette, with IBS, what are the key symptoms people need to be keeping an eye out for?
General discomfort. This is IBS.
Yep.
Bloating, flatulence, sort of indiscriminate bowel behaviour. So constipation or diarrhea or a mixture of both. Maybe some food intolerances. It's general, gentle. It's meh.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Okay, excellent. Well, not excellent,
it's not great.
But thank you for that. And Mike, the symptoms of IBD that people should be looking out for.
So all of that Lynette just said, plus any unexplained weight loss, blood in the stool, unexplained fevers would be the three main ones, I think.
And the first step is not just to Google it, but to see a practitioner? Or
well, you can go ahead and Google it if you want, but then, And then
come and see a naturopath.
Yep.
And the thing is, as a naturopath, we're going to go, this is beyond us. This looks like it's more likely disease. We're going to send you to your GP. It's really important that you see a GP. So if we look at it and goes, hey, this is, IBS, no problem. But even then, we might encourage you to just get some tests done and make sure it's nothing more sinister.
Now, Andy Crawford just messaged in again and said, I blow up with severe inflammation when eating lettuce.
Very interesting.
Very interesting, all right. I think maybe you need to pop in and see the team.
I think so, definitely.
Now, before we do go, Mike, you've brought in something delicious for us to try, which is something tasty, and it's also great for the bowel. What is this, Mike?
So we've been enjoying tonight what I would call a warming digestive tea. So we brewed it up. We've had it after our pre-show snack. And so this is a blend of two herbs, kawa, which is a native New Zealand plant and is a really nice, warming, slightly spicy, peppery flavour.
Yum.
And with a whole heap of ginger root. And both of these herbs are carminatifs, which is a fancy word to say that they help the bowel to release gas.
Perfect.
Nice
We love that.
So for people out there who might not have easy access to kawa, a great combo is just pick up some peppermint tea bags, and you just do a tea bag in a cup with half a dozen slices of ginger, and that just makes a really nice post-dinner drink to ease your digestion, warm you up, and help you sit down and rest and digest.
Oh, I like it. And it's really tasty. I've been drinking some as well. Slightly peppery aftertaste. Speaking to a wine connoisseur from a professional wino. But it is it's a really lovely warming drink. You can taste the pepperiness of that kawa. So when people are looking for kawa leaves, they might see them in the local park. They should obviously wash them.
Yes, there's please don't go out and just pick kawa willy-nilly, because I think it might be a crime. You can get a permit to harvest on dockland, but please contact Doc first. But it grows very readily in gardens, and lots of people have it in gardens. So if you know someone with it growing, you can pick fresh leaves.
Check your own backyard.
And also, I think most health food stores probably have dried kawa that you can buy as well.
Excellent.
To use as tea.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you for making that too. It's very tasty. And finally, a couple of comments coming through. Miranda Sophie, I'm so glad this conversation has happened. Thank you, Mike, Monique and Lynette, for spurring healthy change in education. Mwah. Thank you, Miranda. And Andy Crawford just said, I agree, Miranda. It's great to take the time to listen and be listened to. Great team.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys for being part of the conversation. And also, I really want to thank both of you for coming into the studio this evening. I love the opportunity to pick your brains and to ask those questions that often people are too scared to ask. So thanks for helping on my own health journey, and for everybody watching as well. Thank you to you both.
Thanks, Nick.
And also a big thank you to the wonderful people at Power Clinic. There's their contact details again if you want to pop in and see them, or go and see one of the practitioners there at My Remedy. They would love to see you. Grab the details before I change screens very shortly. There's the details. And that is, of course, the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine, who are the chief sponsor of tonight's show. We love you guys, and thanks for being part of this journey. And also to our producers at Your Fix TV, to Mr. Pete Ward for producing the show and bringing it to you live. So thanks everyone for joining us. Now, this is a weekly conversation. This month we've been focusing on gut health. Next week we're going to do a recap of the first 3 episodes. So if you've missed any, from 7 p.m. next Monday night, you'll be able to see all 3 shows broadcast together. So you can grab all of the collective information from all of our guests, from all 3 shows. Cool. And also, we've got another great screen coming up for you. We love to say thank you. Thanks for being part of the show. Thanks for joining the conversation. Now, over the next month, we'll be talking about the effects of stress and anxiety on your health. Is it real, or is it all just in your head? Oh, a great question. Now, make sure you send us your questions if you're on the Your Fix page, the My Remedy page, or South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. Send us your questions. We want to know, what do you want to see? Every month we focus on a different health condition. Please do us a favor, share the show, because the more we can share this conversation of health, the better for everyone. And also, if you get a chance, visit the websites of our partners. Because this is Health Bites, bite-sized pieces of health and wellness information so you can own your health. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks Mike, thanks Lynette.
Thank you.
Ka kite anō e noho rā.
Bye-bye.